First step, find some political sign or advertisement sign. You probably have these all over the corners. I collect these at the end of elections. I get them out of garbage, or people have just left them out. Put some glue on it, and I'm using Scotch permanent glue stick. Glue it down to some fabric. Let it dry for a minute. Take your rotary cutter and be careful not to cut into the plastic. Just kind of carefully guide it. Put 2 holes through both the plastic and the fabric. And I use an old cutting mat that I no longer have any use for. And I'm in about 1.25 inches there. And you don't want this right up at the top. You want it down a little bit because we're going to be putting a ribbon through it, and we want the ribbon to be hidden. I just felt underneath and it went through. It didn't go, there we go. I'm just making a plus sign. Okay, now I'm gonna put some ribbon in there. Just use your scissors to push that through to the other side. Come back up the other side. I'm just using some Christmas ribbon. Doesn't matter, it won't show. I guess if you wanted it to show, you could just make it longer, but what I'm doing is making a hanger for the back of this. Tie it in a knot. You don't want it exceeding this top side. Take your old quilt. It's probably disintegrating, but that's okay. Find a spot that's got some interesting colors, you know, that isn't too far gone. I don't do any repairs on anything. I like to just go with whatever. And today I'm just doing a mini version of this. So I'm not doing a full motif as in the example. And stains, don't care. That's just all part of the history of this. See, this is all, the fabric's gone and it's just the cotton showing. Just leave it. Got a hole, leave it. I'm gonna put this on there and cut around the outside a little bit. And it's important to leave a little bit there because as soon as you cut this out, this is going to distort all over the place. So you don't want to cut it to size before you get it glued down. Okay, on the other side, put glue on generously. position that on there. Don't do too much smoothing or you're gonna start tearing the quilt, but just press it down. I would give it a minute to dry. Cut away the excess. Choose some fabric that would look good for the border. I've got some of this left from the original one that I did. These are all 2.5 inch. And I'm going to sew them diagonally like this to join them. Okay, my binding, I've joined it, trimmed it, pressed the seams open. And just to make it easier to work with, I have ironed it in half. Okay, this is very important. These are the needles that I use. Schmetz leather needles, 110/18. And the reason why, let me grab another one. I don't even know if I can get this in the video, but there is a tiny blade at the tip. Can you see that? There's just not a point. It's a sharpened blade, and that will cut through the plastic. And I know that when you're binding a quilt or something, everybody starts in the middle and has techniques to finish it off. It's just too hard on this plastic. So I'm going to advise that you start on the corner. And I'm just kind of feeling for where the corner is. I've got it on a bigger stitch. I'm gonna just do a little back stitch there. And then, there goes my thread already. Let me back up. I'm just gonna take it nice and slow, and I'm pretty much a 1/4 inch off the edge here. You do not want to come in any more than that way. You don't want anything wider than a 1/4 inch. I actually just line it up with the side of my presser foot, which is probably a little bit less than 1/4 inch. And I'm feeling for the edge of this plastic here. And just like when you do a quilt binding, you're gonna want to stop a 1/4 inch from the end. One more, back it up a little. Now on this first row, I'm gonna turn this back and I'm just going to stitch here just a little bit. I'm gonna do the rest later. I just want to have this nice clean edge here that's already stitched for when I come back around, that I'm not sewing over something that's not been stitched yet. Okay, we're going to continue on just in the same manner that you would do the binding on a quilt. I'm not getting into that technique. You can find a YouTube tutorial on that. Yeah, the rest of this is just like binding a quilt. back stitch a little bit there. It just works best. Now, as I've been sewing, this has been coming out, kind of flattening out. So I'm going to trim that off. Okay, when you get to this side here, just fold this back, but don't do it too soon because this keeps wanting to stretch when you don't want it overhanging. And this is why we went back and stitched that. Oh, come on. All right, the needle hit one of the ridges in the plastic. Just pop that to the back. Make sure your corners are looking good. All right, I'm gonna start here where I left off on that first little bit of stitching that I did. And I'm gonna stitch on the old quilt, not on the binding. And what I'm doing is taking my thumb and rolling that around the back so that I know that it's far enough over. Just take your time. You can use your scissors to make sure it doesn't come loose. But once I get this folded back where I want, I'm actually putting pressure here so that it's not coming out. Not thrilled with that corner, but see, I've wrapped it around and now I'm pushing down. Just trim it up.